Hey guys, I'm hanging out with my friend Steve Fogg. Steve, this is a long time coming, my
A
friend.
very long time coming, Cole.
I know, buddy. You have been overseas across the pond,
Yep.
and we have never met in person until this moment right here.
This moment.
This is where the magic happens, right here,
Indeed.
buddy.
Indeed.
So you were telling me that poor thing, you were waiting to at our booth downstairs talking to me, and you waited so long because people were there that you're like, I give up. I give up.
Yeah. Well, everyone wants to improve their visuals, right? Everyone needs help. I mean, that's the reality of the world, and you guys do an amazing job.
Thank you, man. You are too. So give us a snapshot of what your ministry's about, what you've been doing to help churches and ministries all over the world.
Yeah. So I'm an online campus pastor of a church called Crossway in Melbourne.
And that's pretty new, right?
The campus isn't new. The
No,
campus.
your position there. Have you been there a while?
The change from when we first set it up in 2015 to actually becoming a campus is 2 years. But we set it up 2015. So it's an internal thing more than an external thing. But now the expectations on me are different. So the expectations before were it's views. The expectations now it's people.
Yeah.
So the expectations are people coming to faith.
Yes.
Are people getting baptized?
Yep.
Are people joining in groups?
Yeah.
Are people giving? Just basically what an in-person campus would have. So we've switched that philosophy.
Yeah. Which is so important. Let's get into that. And that kind of leads us into the workshop that you're going to share here at Modern Church Leader is about how we can use content. Content's very important. Your visuals matter extremely, right?
100%.
But if it's just visuals, it's just content, let's pack it up. Who cares? So it's got to get somewhere. It's because the gospel matters and people matter and reaching them for Jesus matters, right?
Yeah. Look, the visual is the vehicle. I mean, that's the reality, right? So, we don't notice a good visual, but it matters and it connects and it really, the vehicle opens up a conversation.
Yeah.
So for me as an online pastor, it's really, I will use vision, I will use graphics, I will use questions rather than periods, and really just to get engagement. Engagement really is the first step. And you can't do that without having a strategy for your visuals, but also actually having something that looks good. Because really, churches have a background of not doing that so well. And I have a lot of non-Christian friends. And when I say church, I work for a church. In their mind, it's this small pokey hall of 80 people who, mostly in Australia, what we have, are blue rinse set, so over the age of 65. But when I tell them, hey, I have 15,000 people every week on our campus online, and we have 5,500 of our in-person services, changes the paradigm a bit. But that's what visuals do as well. It just helps shift the perspective of someone's perception of faith. So it really, so I was a non-Christian until I was 27. My perception of Christianity was exactly that until I was invited to go to my church where I came to faith by my beautiful wife. And so I am a flirt and convert. But I noticed the visuals were actually terrible. But I was a graphic designer at the time. I was like, I can change this. So I started, so I was in corporate design at the time and started doing their annual reports for them, which were up to that point, photocopies. So it really does matter whether it's just something substantive in print or if it's, in my case, for most part, it's on socials.
Define quality for me. How does, I mean, if I'm a designer, I'm going to know quality a little bit more than the average Joe, but can the average Joe tell if it's quality or not, and how?
Yeah, look, the average Joe will tell it's quality often when they don't see it. So good design, I think, can help someone take a step in the sense that it's invisible almost, I think. Whereas most visible design is where it just feels a bit off. Like it just feels a little bit hokey.
Hmm.
I don't know if you use that phrase here, but it's
We do.
just a little bit
It's good.
bad. And really that's if it becomes a blockage to actually the purpose, it's not really doing the right thing. And that's really the and it's slightly different in the social space. So a graphic designer or a visual designer really has to understand that medium, as opposed to a print designer, as opposed to a web designer. It's that different use case. You really got to understand how people interact. So it's not just the look, it's the function and the form as well. We have graphic designers at Crossway, and they're predominantly from a print background. So it's just educating them, hey, you realize someone's going to be on a screen, and while that looks beautiful in, let's say, Beebus Light or Gotham Light, actually on the screen they can't read it.
But
But
it's too thin to catch when it's at a distance.
yeah, so just helping people understand the medium, and designers as well, and just if they're from a print background, for me, it's just so important, because if someone can't read it or it's confusing, as soon as you get into that confusion space with a visual, or if you're trying to be clever and it doesn't pay off, people are just going to do that.
Is it worth it to bring in a professional designer or outsource it to a group like us or others, or can I do what? I guess my question is, what should I do in-house and what should I outsource?
Yeah.
We can bring in Canva into the discussion.
No.
No.
Right.
Do you have it?
Look, I'm from a design background, so I don't need Canva. And Canva is good though if you want to scale. So we have more campuses now. So I realize we have people who aren't trained. So we've got a brand identity. So we set some content up in a brand identity.
Right.
But it's kind of the announcement-y sort of posts,
Right.
which I'm not as interested in, because
Right.
it's really for your existing community. Where really I look at kind of what should you do? Should you outsource it or hire it inside? Sometimes it comes down to budget. So a church might have a volunteer graphic designer. That's great. But really, the question is, do you buy or do you build? And if you're buying, it gives you flexibility to try different suppliers. So eventually if you'll find a supplier, you say, yep, it's easy. And they bring that specialist capability in, like you guys do. You bring it in and you're happy. And you've got the budget in your church budget for that. And versus if you build, so if you're building a team and you hire an individual, then the challenge with that is you never really know what you're going to get until they're in the team. And so right. I've had that experience where what I saw in a folio, for example, wasn't really reflected as a strength in their work. So you can only read so much in a folio. So those skills and capabilities.
Portfolio, yeah.
Yeah.
Should I budget for, you mentioned budget, and sometimes it comes down to the church budget. I'd love to hire a designer or an outsourced team like a church visuals, but we just can't afford it. Should I, and we've really tried to work to get the price down to where it's affordable for ministry, and you can still have that high quality. So I guess, is it worth it to budget from your world and your perspective of seeing the results online, seeing how it moves from this content matters to get to real people? Should I budget? How important is it for me to budget for visuals, budget for content to be built?
You can't afford not to do it. Like really, it's so there's a paradigm in church world which is everything in the room is important, but everything outside of the room isn't quite as important. It's like a secondary tier. But the reality, we're called to make disciples.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mostly the church paradigm is, well, they've got to come into the room. But actually, you can impact more people online than you can in the room,
Mm.
right? It's a finite number of seats in the room. As good as it is, I'm not saying it's not good, but the reality is you need to budget, because your reach online is always going to be more substantial than the people that turn up every week.
Mm.
And if you have that mission mindset of making disciples, it's not necessarily just making disciples from your existing community. You know, the apostles didn't set that example. They set the example of going where the people were, and they used the creative visual medium of the time, really, and it was the spoken word. And
Right.
the message was in the marketplace, right? If you think of Acts and Peter in Acts, that's what he's doing, right? He's not in the four walls of a church.
Right.
He's out there. And that's really, you think about creative execution, you need it obviously in your Sunday service, but what goes way beyond that. Good. Like if you can get that, it will change your mindset on the value of it.
Mm.
We have people all the time that say, we've seen your content, then we started watching you online, and now we're here. And for some people, it's been a 3-year journey, but it starts online. And really, you know, the visual, whether it's in a video sequence, whether it's a trailer sequence, whether it's a graphic, whether it's a Bible verse, it all helps someone take a step. So don't think your graphic design or your motion graphics is disconnected from your mission. My pastor says every task is connected to a soul. And if you think about it like that, it really changes the artisan nature to glorify God. You know, it's not a separate task of ministry. It is ministry.
Right. Yeah, that's good. What should pastors and ministry leaders be looking forward to? What are maybe some technology or some strategies that you're seeing is working that more ministry leaders should adopt?
So I'm a bit biased. Again, you can hear my mission heart, right? So often churches, you'll already have a program that you want to invite your community to. So not necessarily that I want you to recreate something new. I consult with churches and help churches reframe their outreach online. And I will start with this premise. What is it that you're already doing that you want your community to know about? So we're not going to change what you're doing, but we're just going to get more people to it. So it's okay, if that's your premise, that's your hypothesis, where are people going to find that online? And then what sort of content is that? How is it supported? Graphics? How is it supported in vision? So for example, we run an online marriage course. People don't come to us because they're searching for a marriage course. They're searching for help in their marriage.
Right.
So, you know, how can I save my marriage is a Google search. Like it's literally a keyword that people, and it's a video. So again, your visuals matter because it's normally a YouTube video, and that keyframe at the start, that thumbnail is so important to help them click. On our website, we'll have a page, and that page won't necessarily just be about the course. It'll talk about your thoughts and your feelings and your current situation. So if you apply that into every context of your ministries online and in person, the way Google works is that it just helps with your searchability. And so all of a sudden, people aren't just searching for a church online, they're searching for help. And the more of that intersection that you have, the more people will find you. The more people that find you, the more people come to faith. So from my journey in what I do, obviously we're tracking people in the on-ramp to our online campus.
Right.
But it happens for the in-person campus as well.
Yeah. Good. All right. Last question for you. You mentioned video. How important is video online? Should I be using video and graphics to a lower extent, but is video still the top communication tool online?
Yes, Yep. So video generally, so you're probably watching this in 16:9, but actually 9:16 is the predominant format for stories, short form stories.
Yep.
And video, there's some great research out there on video. If you've got subtitles on your video, not just the embedded kind of social media subtitles, but actually stuff that people can read. So because 90% of people, or 90% more people, will watch your videos if you've got actual subtitles, because most people aren't actually in their ears, they're just watching with the mute button on while they're traveling. And again, if the format is right, it increases the retention of the video even more. And the way that works on algorithms is that really more people will see it who aren't following you. So
Right.
it's a really simple exercise, that video first, for portrait first, but also from a design perspective and a visual perspective, you're really integrating the two, because our attention span is short.
Right.
And that, so for those people that are watching or listening, it's really, you'll see good socials. It'll be B-roll, it'll be cutaway, it'll be something else, and then it'll come back. And you got to hold people's attention. Even in 30 seconds, that's a long time to hold people's attention.
Right. Yeah. There's a stat that I'll share in a workshop tomorrow that the goldfish has surpassed us.
Yeah.
So as for attention span, that our attention span is shorter than a goldfish's.
Yeah.
And that's so true. And that especially when we're talking about scrolling and keeping you there on the scroll, to get people's attention fast. So we are competing with people's attention. We are competing in the quality realm. All of that is true. Ben, how can people find out more about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, you can check me out on socials, Facebook, Instagram, X, or you can just visit stevefogg.com, or you can just email me, steve@stevefogg.com, and say g'day. I'm your friendly Australian.
Friendly Australian. Man, this is a long time coming. Thanks for hanging out, dude.
Been great to spend some time with you.
This has been a podcast presentation of Church Visuals. Executive produced by Carl Barnhill. Edited by Mario Franco. Title and show graphics by Angie Lomas. For more resources to help you visually communicate the gospel, visit churchvisuals.com.